So, I've prepared a bunch of notes here for you guys. We're going to have quite a long discussion here. So, if anyone's going to get bored, just tell me outright. I'm going to cut things. So I suggest we start by having a quick look at the current state of the cryptocurrency market and the blockchain attack. And according to the general consensus around the world, by all the analytic agencies and stuff, the blockchain attack and crypto is still being formed. It's still being developed. We're quite a way off the big maturity point. And there are a lot of hindrances and a lot of obstacles the market is facing, has been facing, and as we go, there are more and more of them. So I suggest we just quickly go through what these are, really. And you can see those behind me on the presentation, but just going to quickly go through the bullets there. So the first big issue, which the market is facing right now, is creation of a clear legal environment all around the world by all the key countries, participating. And we all know how China has banned crypto, at least temporarily, until they find new ways of regulating the market. We know the US is now heavily regulating things. The latest have been South Korea, which have also been, notoriously difficult right now, and this has had an effect on specific coins and Bitcoin specifically. At the same time, other countries are being much more open, and there are crypto haven't, I guess. The general global market has to come to some kind of a unified position, with this, and we'll have to see how this goes. And what's coming out of it is the attitude towards crypto from the tax authorities from all those countries. Right now, it's murky waters for people, and we know countries which are being, again, notoriously difficult in pursuing potential crypto investors. We know others that have opened all the doors. I guess you might tell me more than I know about how things has been, happening around the world with this. Now, the big kahuna really right now is how blockchain attack is going to be implemented in our day-to-day routine. Now, a bit later for our discussion today, I'm going to hit upon an example of how blockchain attack will influence our lives massively within the next decade or two, but we're going to get there. So the next big thing is the unification of the banking attack and the economic environment in the majority of countries. Guess this is self-explanatory. Banking has been driving the blockchain story, massively. And, right now for the traditional investors, crypto is still being, a bit of a, difficult story to believe in. And we know that the bulge bracket banks they aren't very sure about how this market works, and they aren't sure that they need to invest in that. Though we see that this or that major bank is coming into the play right now, and there is definitely potential. So again, we'll see. So now, if you just look at that list, this is really more of a list of opportunities, right, than obstacles. And if you look at this closely, we understand that we still need to wait for, 5, 10 years, maybe over a decade, for blockchain tech and for crypto to become something very mature and material. And knowing that, any instrument that's going to cater for traditional investors once, right, as well as the usual crypto crowd, is bound to have success. And we hope that what we're going to tell you about our tool and about our token there, that's going to be success. All right, so now I suggest we just look back a bit to the story of how crypto developed and to the story of Bitcoin specifically. Now, as most of you remember, I guess, the official history of Bitcoin began back in 2008 when a certain user, or a group of them, but the myth has it that it's one user, who called himself Satoshi Nakamoto, published the first official doc, right, with the description of the cryptocurrency, that's what it is, right, and the open source code. Now, since then, 10 years have passed by now, and we've seen numerous ups and downs for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin since then has become really an icon, right, for the crypto industry. And a lot of people have jumped on the bandwagon. A lot of people generally believed the hype and started developing new coins, new tokens. Now, really, for all the followers of Bitcoin, life became way easier, right? They didn't have to invent the wheel, right, or bring in an elephant into the room right from scratch. So they could just use what's been done by Nakamoto and his guys and move it forward. And really, this has resulted in a massive technological boom, right, and appearance of new blockchain tech and, well, numerous cryptocurrencies. Really a lot of them. We're seeing cryptocurrencies appearing really every day. We're seeing separate markets appearing out there. Markets for miners, NVIDIA, the global GPU manufacturer, right? They've devoted a huge, whole division right now to producing GPUs for mining. And things are being driven all around the world, really. And a good example of a very successful follower of Bitcoin right now is the Ethereum coin. It took just 3 years for them to get to the price of $1,200 per coin, and it took twice as that for Bitcoin. So, see, things got much easier for people who moved. Now, if we look at the entire market of cryptocurrencies right now, pricing is growing at an incredibly fast rate. Obviously, there are corrections, right, and hiccups here and there, but generally, prices have moved immensely, right, forward, and this is driving the appearance of new coins.